Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Usually Fixing and Tinkering in the world of Project Beatrix. Yes, on the Rover side of things. I haven't forgot about that car, least of all because she's the car that I use most days, being my main driver. And my main aim with Beatrix is to make sure that she is functionally working for me as a car. It needs to, because it needs to be the daily runner in order for me to preserve my Mark 1 Focus especially, which was the main purpose of buying Beatrix. Not necessarily preserving Beatrix as a future classic. She is a modern classic in her own right, but not necessarily preservation, but just trying to make sure that she works functionally as a car and looks as good aesthetically as she ever will, without spending a fortune on paintwork. Aesthetically, Beatrix could be better, but she's a daily driver. So were you aiming to go for? I don't want, the car isn't going to be a Ford Focus or Fiesta in terms of my fleet. That is not the purpose of this. Although some people would say such cars deserve such respect, a bit more respect than that. I do agree, but values dictate otherwise, unfortunately. So I have to be very careful what I spend on the car. But just to make sure that she is a safe car, she can pass the MOT and she can continue driving as good as she does. And I certainly will be encouraged to spend more bits on her than probably most 45 owners have ever done with their cars. And one of the subjects I wanted to cover today, as per the title of this video, is the digital clock in a Mark II 45. God, they're awful things, aren't they? They just lose the digits and the segments all the time. And it has literally been a year and a half since I fully refurbished that clock, and I'm going to show you how you can do it, guys. I didn't show this last time, so the problem has come around again, and it's only taken literally 18 months for some of the segments to vanish again. I'm going to show you how you get them segments back, and I'm sure some of you may be aware about the procedure I'm going to show you. It's a very short one, but honestly, sometimes I feel that I need to buy a Mark 145 clock, branded by Lucas, made by Lucas, never any problems. And it's a common thing to swap the Lucas clock onto a late 45 Mark II. But I'm a bit of a purist and a stickler. And unless that it's actually irreversible and it can't be rectified, then I will go down that route. But actually, I just want to preserve the clock as it is. It's a working clock and it's absolutely fine. I'm delighted to say that, although some of you may not be aware about this, that clock has decided randomly, after I had to mess about with the battery terminals one evening, because one of the the negative battery terminal wasn't exactly clinging on. The clamp had actually worn out and the thread had actually cross-threaded, so I had to get a second-hand one, which luckily I had off the late Project Milo as a part of all the spares I bought for that car. Took thanks to Maria, my good friend, and I managed to get the thing sorted. But as soon as I sorted the battery clamp out, for some unknown reason, that clock was stuck at 1 o'clock. Now, 1 o'clock is the default time for that clock. I have absolutely no idea why it won't move. And literally, you press the hour or the minute button, nothing, absolutely nothing. It is stuck at 1 o'clock. I mean, that's fantastic, because somewhere in the world it's bound to be 1 o'clock, but not really in the UK, apart from 1 minute. Or actually 2 minutes, technically, 1 o'clock, 1 a.m, 1 p.m, etc. But now I've managed to confirm, for some stupid reason, it must have just caused a funny moment in the electrical system. No blown fuses, because I've just taken the plug off the back of that radio, that clock, sorry, plugged it back in, and now it's changing minutes. It's working again. Otherwise, I would replace it. I just wanted to check that it was working. So yes, I'm having to do a few things just to get at the digital clock. But anyway, it's very much of its time a digital clock. I prefer analog. I think analogs are better in Rovers, and that's the thing with a 45. It's a bit more Honda-ish than traditional Rover in certain places, but still. But anyway, to do this job, we must consult the Haynes Book of Lies. Yes, I love this book. It goes into some procedures very, very in a detailed way, definitely, and it's a good reference point. But in some places, the description is so minimal that you are just left head scratching and trying to guess your own way to actually dissecting a job. Not helpful. To remove the clock, consult chapters 2A. Remove the center console completely. Oh yeah, of course. Just just remove the entire center console. Why don't you? It gives absolutely no descriptions whatsoever about that. Absolutely weird. Anyway, let's have a look at this clock, and I'll show you exactly what you need to see. Right. Now, what I was going to say is we've just got a couple of plugs that you need to take out. Take out the radio. There's a couple of screws. There's a screw that goes through this. Look how flimsy that piece is. That's why the mounting brackets for this thing is awful. A couple of screws either side, and I've also got two 10mm bolts here, etc., etc. Although, oh, we seem to be missing a clip for the. That's why it's wobbling. I need to see if I can get another one of them clips. If anybody's got one of them clips, let me know, because I need one for the trim around the gear lever. But it's all rather nice. One of my other complaints is actually I keep pushing this button in and the whole thing keeps moving in. It's actually quite a flimsy panel. I might see if I can. I don't know if it mounts any better. I don't know. I'll have a look at that to see. But there's your parts number on the back side of the air conditioning module. By the way, these are just blanks. These two are just blanks down here. There's nothing connected to them. And a cigarette and yeah, as I say, your sort of. I would say this is like a sort of a sensor thing where it kind of measures the temperature. So it goes into here. This is like an air temperature sensor for the sort of climate control thing. Anyway, yes, this is what we've got. Okay, so we've got two screws here. You've got to be so careful because these things have a habit of snapping where they are mounted on. Okay, just pull off. There we go. Lovely. Oh, by the way, guys, you really do have to take the center console out. You can't do this behind. Honestly, if you're trying to do this in situ and you're trying to move the center console forwards of the dashboard, you've only got that much room, okay? Unless you got one of these fancy turn around the corner screwdrivers, don't even bother. It takes you ages. Right, okay, so just going to move that on the floor, and yes, we can see what we can see. We just got the plug, that dreaded Pektron symbol here. The Trafficmaster system, like I said, was abandoned around 2012, so this is. It was a good idea, but it's now defunct. It is now just a clock. That is the parts number, believe it or not. I'm going to get this prized open. You just have to push these tangs open, and we'll try and split this apart. Oh, God. Right, that was a bit tricky. Now, you've got to be careful on the back side. So, this is the way it's facing, okay? The bottom side is where the ribbon goes, okay? You could easily put your screwdriver through and put a hole in the ribbon. Don't do that, okay? Try not to do that, and just get the backing plate off. Now, this is where it all sort of, excuse me, comes apart, okay? Right, that's just the backing piece, okay? This is your printed circuit board, okay? Now, this will come off with the ribbon. Now, we're going to discuss this more in a second. I'm just going to take that away. Okay, the ribbon is connected to the little screen, and obviously, I'll just take the screen away. Okay, the screen just sits on there, okay, in front of this. All right, and that's your digital screen there. Okay, and this is just the body with the buttons. These buttons will just drop out. They will just come straight out. So just put that over there. Now, what the problem is, usually, if you get no digits, by the way, it's probably because this ribbon has been bust. There's nothing wrong with the circuit board nor the bulb or anything, okay? Now, I've done this before on this. Now, you just check to make sure that the ribbon is not broken. That's the main thing. If it's not broken, we're good. Now, you see on the back side here where this ribbon connects to the circuit board, okay? It loosens here, and that is why you are losing the segments. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get something like this. You're going to have to get the tip of an iron, and you're just going to have to massage just over the edge. Okay, not the whole thing. You've got to control this. You've got to use the tip of an iron to just go over where it actually goes onto the circuit board. And I'll tell you something, this worked the last time I did it, and I'm pretty damn sure it will work again. That is how simple it is. Just take your time. And that should seal really nicely to where basically the ribbon connects to the circuit board, which connects the screen with the segments with all its controllers. It's as simple as that. And refit. Okay, so just put that back over and fold this over like that. Now there are some locating studs which should go on quite nicely. In fact, this is where you can get it the wrong way around. There you go. There you go, there you go. The locating studs go all the way through the board in a couple of places. And literally, you can pop that back into here. Yeah. Put that back there. And put the cover on over the connectors. And you just snap into place. Lovely, fantastic. Just be very careful when you're screwing it in back into that dash that you don't have any stress points, because remember, these will crack very easily, so don't over tighten the screws, and then we'll fit it to the car. Well, what you might want to do is actually just individually fit it first. Yes, I think that's a good idea, and it'd be the white plug. Okay, lovely, we've got the digits. Oh, you can't see. Let me just turn the ignition on. Yeah, we got all the digits back. Yes, and it changes. Oh, brilliant, lovely. That's 301 somewhere. And that's where I leave you, because I've got all this. Oh, goodness me, I'm going to have to do some vacuuming as well, because I've just discovered that this seat is starting to give out a bit of foam underneath. Unfortunately, the foam isn't. It's never been great on this driver's seat. I remember taking this apart and dealing with that, but yes, wonderful. Well, I've got a few other jobs to do in Beatrix, but that's an annoying one, and now I've got a clock that works. So it's as simple as that. You just get an iron to that part of the ribbon where it sits on the circuit board. So that's going to buy me probably 18 months. I have to get it back out again. Bit of a faff. It's obviously, I didn't realise that actually servicing a clock was part of a service requirement for a car. You need to re-iron this every 18 months. No joke on that one. Anyway, I'll leave you here. I've got lots of redoing centre consoling to be done, and I've done this before. But anyway, I'll leave you be. Take care, guys. Hope this was helpful.